Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to walk through Cedar Logic Simulator and just kind of show you some of the basics. We will be using Cedar Logic to simulate our circuits. So when I give you an AND gate to work on, you can build your AND gate in here, change the inputs, and see what the output will be. So you can imagine that this would be a useful tool when your circuits start to get a little more complex than just an A and B type of a circuit. So when you have multiple inputs, you want to see what the behavior is going to be and what the output's going to be. First thing I want to mention about Cedar Logic is it's an open source software, and I provided the link in Blackboard so you can download it to use at home. It's a pretty easy tool to install and to use, so I would encourage you to do that. It's just easy to work with. I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but the easiest thing to do when you're first learning a new tool is to just click on everything and just be curious about everything, because you might uncover something or you might learn something that maybe you won't use today, but you'll use later on down the road. So take a look at the menus that you have up at the top. They're pretty standard, right? This is all standard stuff. On the view, you have something called an O-scope, and we're not going to use that right away, but what that does is it simulates behavior over time. So you can run a circuit and then just continue to change its inputs and see how it behaves differently. And again, with the small circuits, you know, not so helpful, but when you have much larger ones, it is very helpful to see different behaviors. The next thing I want to bring to your attention is this list right here. So you have a list of 1 to 10 items to work with. The first one is the basic gates. And if you click on basic gates, I mean, we're default there, but the basic gates are this group right here. So there's some familiarity. If you hover your mouse over one of these images, it'll give you a short description. So you can see this is a 2 input AND, 3 input, 4 input AND. Same thing with your ORs, 2 input, 3 input, 4 input. You have your XORs, you have your XNORs, etc. I mean, the list is long, and so they give you a lot of tools to work with. Inversion and connect on number 2. So the main things we'll be using here are the inverter, and remember the inverter is your NOT gate. So you have a larger one and a smaller one. We'll use some of these others and it'll become more clear as we go on. But again, this video, the purpose of this video is just to give you an overview. So I don't want to spend too much time on something you'll learn in the future. Just yet anyway. Click on number 3 for inputs and outputs. And the two things that we'll use primarily are the on-off toggle switch. Okay, that is an input. And you know that in binary you have 0 and 1. You're off and you're on. And so what this allows you to do is change your input to see what kind of output you'll get. It's a great tool. And then your LED can be used as the output. So imagine that that's almost like a light. So is the light on or is the light off, depending on what inputs we're providing. Okay, we will use some of these others, but again, in the future. Click on 4, decorations. This allows you to add text or to label your inputs and outputs. Some of the others that we'll use in future, mux and decoders, flip-flops, and registers. So you'll see these as we move on through your book and as we move on through the semester. Click on basic gates. So I just want to show you how to kind of build a basic circuit and how to have it run for you. So we'll start with the AND gate. Click here and drag into your workspace. And you see that there's a dotted line. Just click away and it'll fill out the lines for you. So here's your AND gate. You know you have 2 inputs, 1 output on this guy. You need your inputs. So click on input. We will use the toggle switch as the input. And as I said, the toggle switch allows you to simulate behaviors with an off state and an on state. So you can see the differences. So click and drag, let go. Again, if you click away, the dotted lines become solid. Now you need to connect your toggle switch to your gate. In order to do that, hover your mouse over the end here and you'll see this red square. Click, drag, you'll see the same red square here, and let go. You've made a connection and it shows you where the wires are connected here. That's what the solid circle will show you. Do the same with the second one. So click with the red square, drag, let go. Okay, you've connected 2 inputs now to your AND gate. Now we need an output. And as I said earlier, use your LED as your output. Again, it's just like a light. So you'll see the light go on and off. Click, drag. Now, the colors are meaningful in Cedar logic. So the black indicates a 0 or off state. The green that you saw earlier, let me see if I can delete this. This green means nothing. It's not on, it's not off. So click and drag again. Okay, this is off. Before we do anything though, let's label. So click on your decorations. Here you have text. Click, drag your text. Click, drag your text. Double click and you can change the value here. So we're going to make this your A input. And this is going to be a B input. Okay. Now simulate behaviors. You know that a 0 and a 0 results in a 0. A 0 and a 1, so click this on, right? Toggle it. Notice that a 1 is red. A 0 and a 1 is still a 0. Toggle off again. Toggle this guy on. Same result, right? A 1 and a 0 results in a 0. Now toggle this on. Notice all your wires are red, all your inputs are red, and your LED is on because a 1 and a 1 results in a 1, right? So that's what you can imagine now. If you had several gates going on, many layers to this, it would be useful to see, okay, what would happen with the different inputs, and did I build this correctly? Okay, let's try another one. Go over to basic gates, and we'll do an OR. Right, so same thing I want you to do here. Go over to your inputs, grab 2 of these. 2. When you're building your circuits, it is helpful, and you'll see this in your book, to have everything lined up. All right. Now, these are 2 individual circuits, but if these were connected in some way, you would want to line up your gates. So this is the first level of gates, this would be the next level of gates, etc. Let's grab an output. Okay, so go ahead and connect these guys. And I know I should label, but I just want to show you behaviors, right? A 0 or a 0 results in a 0. A 1 or a 0 results in a 1. Toggle. A 0 or 1 is 1. A 1 or 1 is 1. So you can see the behaviors. Okay, so let's make sure we label those guys. So the last thing I'd like to do is build an OR gate. So if you're in the invert and connect, select the inverter, click and drag. As you can see, I already did that. Click away and it will fill in into a solid line. You can see you have 1 input, 1 output. So go to your input and output, grab your toggle, connect, grab your LED, connect, and immediately you can see a 0 input results in a 1 output. You've got the little circle indicating a NOT situation. So that is also a common way to note that. Go ahead and label, click on decorations, bring in your text, and we'll just label this as an A. Okay, and if you click, you can toggle back and forth and see the difference, right? Okay, that's all I had for this video, and in the next video we'll go on and do a little more with Cedar logic.